You're here for a Pokemon Black and White Easter egg that links a game from 20 years ago to Generation 5's Pokemon games. I found this secret while streaming and exploring the Celestial Tower, and while listening to the music I heard something very familiar. The music that any Zelda fan would know about. So sign in, sit right down, and we're going to get into how this game series is completely different from another, but somehow includes a reference to it. I'm not gonna make you wait long for the comparison. I only saw a few posts about this and it's a bit strange such an obscure reference would exist, and I wanted to cover it. If you have taken a trip to the Celestial Tower in Generation 5, you will hear some music unique to it. The tower is built to house dead Pokemon, and I guess maybe people too. There's a lot of headstones up there. Pokemon's really obsessed with the idea of filling towers with dead. I really don't understand it. Generation 1 had the Lavender Town Tower. Generation 2 moved it into a house, but it was the tower before that. In the anime, there was another weird, ghosty, dead tower. Generation 3 had a tower of sorts as well, kind of. And here, yet another tower. You will encounter this music no matter what, because it's required to scale the tower to progress the story and unlock the gym leader battle for the area. But while there, the music should sound familiar, and it should because it's from Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for the SNES. I'm going to put both tracks on, and you can take a listen for yourself. The Zelda: A Link to the Past soundtrack is in Generation 5, Pokemon Black and White, and that is crazy to me. The track is the Light World Dungeon theme. If you do not know much about Zelda, the Super Nintendo release of Zelda has the player using Link to go through several dungeons, but there are two worlds, the Light World and the Dark World. And the Light World Dungeon theme is a 1-to-1 match for the Celestial Tower, with a very slight variation. I could maybe link the two somehow, that like maybe there's a ghost from the game returning and it's because the Celestial Tower being about the dead. No, that's just one massive stretch. So instead, I actually tried to figure out where this reference is from. Maybe the composer wanted to put this reference in, and so I did some digging. Now, I really did try to get information about these two tracks, thinking that maybe the composer was just the same on them both, but no. Apparently, the composer for Zelda was Koji Kondo in 1991, and the composer for Pokemon Black and White was Shada Kageyama, Go Ikanos, Hitomi Sato, and Junichi Masuda, as well as Manako Adachi. And you know what? I'm probably gonna get some heat for mispronouncing those names, so I apologize, but I've never been good at that. Koji Kondo is well known for his role at composing for Nintendo, but had absolutely no roles in Pokemon games whatsoever. Not even one. This man worked on so many Mario games and even received several awards for his works, being nominated for the Best Original Music for Super Mario Galaxy 2 and the Best Soundtrack for Super Mario 3D World. However, again, all of his awards and work, he still never worked on Pokemon. So I looked into The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and again, the only composer listed is Koji Kondo, which means the people who composed Black and White did not work on this Zelda game either. So I dug even deeper. And please forgive me because my knowledge of music is terrible, but I did find this. So I found that there are actually two more songs that sound very distinctly familiar to this as well. Donkey Kong Country's Aquatic Ambiance and Chrono Trigger's Memories of the Green. way these songs are composed are very similar, but slightly different. The pattern from Zelda, DK Country, and Chrono Trigger is root 2nd, M3, M7. And the Zelda one, you can hear it move down chromatically. Instead of explaining it, let me just show you the music in the background and list what I'm talking about here. All of these pieces feature two B3, B7 motif that gets repeated a few times. Otherwise, they're very different. These songs have different moods and beats outside of the isolated examples I listed. So basically, it makes them similar with different tones. What's the conclusion here? Well, Pokemon is inspired by real-world events and mythical events and legends, so it could easily translate to the music developers also being inspired by other creators' music while they play their games. Zelda: A Link to the Past is a very iconic game that many developers of Pokemon probably played and listened to the music of, and the dungeon theme was a song where the player would hear in great length while solving puzzles in dungeons. Sometimes getting stuck, the song would get stuck in the player's head because of how long they were stuck in the dungeon. And to that end, the other music I cited, they're from equally great games, well known in their own legendary rights as well, so it's not like people wouldn't have played those games and heard those songs also. Therefore, I can only conclude that the developers took influence from these songs and created their own variations of the tracks, altering them slightly into their own music. And so, there we have it, folks. The mystery of Zelda music in Pokemon is solved. But what other tracks have you heard that sound very, very familiar? Do you know some that I missed? You let me know in the comments down below.